Hello, my dear patrons. I wanted to create a little video saying thank you so much for all your support this past year. It really means a lot to me, really. It has expanded my career, and it's just helped me really kind of understand myself and my branding and where I wanted to go with my line of work. And I really couldn't do any of this without my Patreon. And for example, I don't think I would have been able to pay for my wisdom tooth extraction if I didn't have Patreon. So there's that. It was pretty fucking important to me, so to have some of that. Anyway, so I also wanted to answer some of those questions that you guys had asked me last month. I know that I was supposed to do this a few weeks ago, but you know, my tooth was really killing me. It's better now, so let's get to it. I'm really excited about these questions. You guys had some good ones. I wrote them down on this piece of paper. Alright, so someone has asked me, why keep the bush? There's actually a few people who asked me about my bush. And I have a few answers. Number one, shaving sucks. You're nice and fresh for a full day, and then it sucks when it grows back. It's just so itchy and it's painful. It's not pretty. And yeah, and it would, when you shoot the next few days after you've shaved, you get red bumps and it's gross. And those red bumps are actually like, they're your hair follicles that have been shaved off and like are cut open. And that is actually perfect breeding grounds for bacteria and other viruses to enter your system. So it's actually easier to get a STD. So have fun with that. And I also do think that it contributes to my my natural look. And I just like it. I've got good hair. Why not grow it, Why not? Alright, so somebody also wants to know the story behind each of my tattoos. I have 3. They're small ones, so I feel like I can get away with sometimes saying that I don't have any tattoos. Alright, so I have the heart on my hip. And that's kind of a funny story. I'll try and shorten it up a little bit. So I was like 18. I was living on my own, paying for my car, my schooling, and for my apartment and everything. All the bills were my responsibility, and I was working like a little part-time job at, I think, TGI Fridays or something as a waitress for breakfast in the morning. Anyway, one day this guy tipped me a huge tip, and it was like $50. So I felt like I had $50 to spend on whatever it was my little 18-year-old heart wanted to spend it on. I didn't know what that was at the moment, so I called my friend Sarah. I was like, Sarah, I've got $50 extra. We should go downtown and do something cool. And she's like, okay, cool. So we get down there, and we turn on the radio, and there's a song about a tattoo, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to get a tattoo. And she's like, you can get a tattoo. I'm not going to get a tattoo. Okay, so I get into the tattoo parlor, and they're like, okay, what kind of tattoo do you want? And I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Let me sit down and think. Sat down, and I think the thing I decided on was a classic heart. So I said, okay, I want a heart. And they're like, okay, where do you want it? I was like, oh shit, I don't know. Sit down. What's cliche? The hip. So I get into the chair, and they draw on a heart, and I didn't like it, so I removed it with the alcohol wipe, and I actually drew that heart on my hip in the chair. 5 minutes later, it was tattooed on, and I love it. It's actually my favorite tattoo. That was my first one. A few years later, I got the skull on the top of my back. It's not my favorite. I'm really grateful for my long hair that covers it most of the time. But that was a free tattoo. That was just something I usually scribbled, I don't know, in school, doodle on paper, so I decided to get it tattooed. And then this is the 3rd tattoo I have. It's a semicolon. Most of you probably know what that means. It's just, I don't know, it's a little reminder for myself that life goes on no matter what struggles you have, and you have the power to change your circumstances and to continue your sentence, which is life. Anyway, kind of cliche. That's okay. Alright, what's the hardest part of freelancing? The hardest part of freelancing, I would say, is the hustle. It's totally my responsibility to to make sure that I'm making enough income to pay my bills and to feed myself and keep traveling. I mean, you know, with the plane tickets, you know, eating out when you're on tour, it adds up so much, and so you really have to make sure all your expenses are covered, plus take little home extra so that you can have time to sit down and hustle for your next tour. So that's really hard for me. I get discouraged a lot, which is also why I'm so grateful for Patreon, because you guys give me some freedom to take it easy for a little bit, not have to rush and hustle my next tour so much. Yeah, but yeah, the inconsistent income I think is the hardest. When I had a regular job, I knew about what I was to expect for my next paycheck. Every month is a huge question mark in freelance modeling, whether, you know, am I going to earn enough money to pay all my bills, or am I going to have a little extra money to put in my savings? You never know, and so it's all on me to make sure that that comes through, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, and life goes on, and you just, you know, have to keep trucking. So it builds some character, it builds some thick skin, yeah, for sure. Do you imagine yourself being a full-time photographer? Yeah, I have talked about picking up a camera recently, but that's honestly, right now I haven't thought too much where I want to go with that. For me, it's just another way to create. I have a little artistic vision in my head that not a lot of other photographers I've seen execute, but I don't know. If it goes well by the end of my modeling career, then I might continue it. If not, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Somebody wants to have me tell a dirty joke. This is my favorite joke of all times. Alright, so little Johnny comes out onto the porch one day and Grandpa's smoking out of a pipe. And little Johnny goes, "Hey Grandpa, can I have a smoke of your pipe?" And Grandpa looks at Johnny and says, "Well, does your penis reach your asshole?" And he goes, "Well, no, that's gross." And he's like, "Well, I guess you're not man enough to have a smoke of my pipe." So the next day, little Johnny goes back out onto the porch and Grandpa's drinking a beer. And little Johnny goes, "Hey Grandpa, can I take a sip of your beer?" And Grandpa goes, "Well, Johnny, does your penis reach your asshole?" And he goes, "Dude, no." And he's like, "Well, I guess you're not man enough to have a sip of my beer." So the next day, Grandpa goes out onto the porch and little Johnny has a big plate of fresh baked cookies. And Grandpa says, "Hey Johnny, can I have some of your cookies?" And so Johnny says, "Well, Grandpa, does your penis reach your asshole?" And he goes, "Well, son, it sure does." "Well, then you can go fuck yourself because Grandma made these for me." Ha ha ha. Commence laughing. It's good. Okay. Alright, so somebody wants to know some of the, I don't know, more mundane things about me, my regular self. What's my favorite TV show, type of music, and what do I like to do for fun? So I have to admit that watching TV probably is one of my favorite hobbies. I don't know if a lot of you would say that it's, you know, counts as a hobby, but I do. I really love The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under, The Wire, you know, those are some classics. Deadwood is one that I really love and I wish that they would just finish it. I know they're coming out with a movie. Westworld is the current favorite, obviously Game of Thrones. I am watching Gilmore Girls for the first time from start to finish currently. Yeah, Frasier's a good one. I don't know. I like a lot of TV shows. I don't know. Alright, type of music. I feel like I have a pretty wide range of what I like to listen to. Some of you don't know this, but I'm a blues dancer. So my heart is in blues. Any kind of good blues music. Oh, it's so good. It's a partner dance. It's casual social dance. It's really sexy. It doesn't look sexy, but the connection that you feel with your partner is really sexy. Anyway, so that's what I like to do for fun. I haven't done it much since I've been up in Seattle. I just don't know where to go. I need to look into that. Yeah, so that's what I like to do for fun. That's my favorite type of music. My current favorite band, though, is Tame Impala. and I just saw them almost 2 years ago at Sasquatch. It's a music festival up in the Pacific Northwest, and I just bought tickets to go again, so I'll be there in spring. Who knows, we'll be there this time. Alright, so do you wear makeup on shoots? And do you do any shoots without makeup? So I normally do wear makeup on my shoots. I like to go for a more natural look, and I'm not very talented when it comes to makeup, so I don't do any extreme full face, you know, looks. Only every once in a while will I do false eyelashes. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I can look like a clown really easy if I do it wrong. So I just try to do the more natural look. Every other day though, I don't have makeup on. Right now I did my eyebrows and my eyelashes. I don't even have base on right now. But if you guys want to see some shoots without makeup, I can do that. You know, most of my outdoor shoots, I tend to not wear a lot of makeup. I just like to do the natural, you know, in a natural environment. Might as well be natural as well. Anyway, alright, so what artistic medium do you do as well? Do I do as a hobby? I don't like to say this because I like to keep some parts of my life pretty private, and this is one of them. I kind of paint, and I kind of sketch. When I say kind of, I mean I do, but I don't think I'm any good, so that's why I just don't put it out there. But yeah, I do watercolors. Not very good though. They're just fun. I don't know. Finger paints every once in a while, you know. Anywho. Alright, this fan wants to know, you always seem like you need money to put food on the table. Would you stop if you had another form of income? I'm sorry if it seems like I always need money, and I'm sure you're only seeing the hustle side of my job, and that's really important. If I wasn't on Instagram every single day, you know, trying to funnel traffic into my Patreon, then I just wouldn't be as successful. Honestly, the success of my Patreon has literally everything to do with how well I market it. And I try not to sound desperate. I hope that's not how I'm coming across. You know, I like what I do, and I'd like to continue doing what I do. So the only way to make that happen is to make sure that I have patronage on my page. But yeah, so would you stop if you had another form of income? No, this is a big part of my life, freelance modeling, you know, being able to create art in a way that's meaningful to me and that influences other people. It really gives my life meaning. That might sound cliche, but it really does. It's a really good reason to wake up in the morning. And yeah, I've been doing it I started modeling when I was like 21, I think. And ever since, it just hasn't turned off for me. And when I was 21, I was a nanny. I was a nanny for 3 years. And that was a nice form of consistent income. And then I realized one day that I didn't ever want to be a mom. So why was I spending all this time hanging out with kids that weren't really fun to hang out with for money? And the money wasn't good. That did pay my rent. But I was waking up every single day really super early in the morning, and I just wasn't happy, you know. I was actually quite depressed. But I felt like I got stuck into that, into what society expects us to be, you know, just these machines going to our jobs every single day and doing the same shit every single day, and it just was not good for me. So I think there was one day that they told my nanny family told me they were going to go to Hawaii for like 10 days, and they said, you can come with us. So they were like, ooh, free vacation for our nanny. No, it's more like they wanted to have a babysitter on hand 24/7. And I wasn't going to be able to enjoy Hawaii with my work family, so I was like, no, I'm going to go do something else. You guys have fun in Hawaii. So I went to the East Coast, and that was my first full-blown tour as a model. And I just kind of did it for fun, just to see what I could accumulate just to see what I could do if it was something that I was interested in doing. Before I left, I calculated all the shoots that I had lined up, and I was like, holy shit, I'm making like what I would normally make in 3 months in 2 weeks. And it, you know, working with these photographers that I've been following for a long time, and I can't wait to get them in my portfolio. And I went, and it was a somewhat, it turned out really good. I made a lot of good friends. It was a really good traveling experience for me. I had quite a few cancellations because I wasn't established at the time. But on that trip, when I was, I think I was on a train somewhere in New York, and I got an email from my nanny family, and they were like, you know what, I don't think we'll need you anymore, so have fun with your modeling. And they were actually really supportive. It wasn't like a big fuck you. It wasn't, you're fired. Yeah, they wanted me to pursue modeling, which is something that I had been talking about. And ever since then, it was like a huge burden lifted off my chest. I mean, it was really freeing to be able to go do what I wanted to do as a model and to travel the world. And I've been doing it ever since. I haven't ever felt like I needed to go get a part-time job at McDonald's or anything. So, I mean, even if I did find a job that paid me as much as modeling does, I still feel like I would be back in that system, you know, waking up at the same time every morning, doing the same shit every day. And that really stifles me. It's not good for me. So, no, if I had another form of income, I wouldn't stop what I'm doing now, and that does terrify me because I will get old one day. I will become unattractive to my followers. Maybe, I don't know, you know, we'll see. But I know that this modeling isn't a forever thing, and until then, I'm going to be working it as hard as I can, so I will continue to hustle it, and I will continue to seem like I need money so that I can build a little nest so that I can get very serious about my next step in life and to get a good degree for a good job, for a good income, and have a different passion in another field. But until then, this is it. This is it for me. I'm really happy. This is good. Alright, if one of your followers was able to pay you as much money as you want, would you give them the chance to meet you? Yeah, sure. I mean, why not? I mean, I'd meet any of my fans. I don't think I would need any sum of money to meet them. So I just have to make sure that they're not creepy and I'd be safe, and I don't know, it'll be fine. So, what made you get into modeling? You know, I kind of fell into it. My best friend when I was in high school, she was studying photography, and every time she had a project, I was there with her, and we took some really pretty pictures. She took some portraits of me that some were black and white, some were color. Yeah, we did quite a few. And one of those portraits, I don't know, you guys may have seen it. I was really young. Oh, that was like 10 years ago. I was 17. And you know, those big furry heads that are, you know, super popular in the winter. Well, I was wearing one of those, and I was kind of like helping her set up a table of makeup with light and shadow, and, you know, trying to help her create something. And I had the hood on because I was cold, and she just told me to look up. And so just with my eyeballs, I looked up and gave her like a little sexy smirk. And she took a picture, and that I think is still up on my Model Mayhem. And we won like some kind of international award for that. So I was able to, okay, yeah, so then years later, I don't know, maybe 3 years later, I was on a dating website called Plenty of Fish looking for, I don't know, a boyfriend or something. And there was this guy that messaged me and was like, hey, your photos translate really well to print. I was like, whatever that means. So he's like, yeah, I'm a painter. You can research me. Here's a few articles on what I do. And I want you to come over and, you know, have dinner with me, and then I can paint you. And I was like, okay, he's cute, why not? Let's see what happens. So I went over there, and, you know, we actually had a good relationship for a while. He never painted me, but during that relationship, he was like, this is something that you have to do. You have to model. here's a few contacts, build up your portfolio, get yourself on Model Mayhem. And with those photos that I created with my best friend years prior, I was able to get at least a good base for a portfolio, and immediately I started taking paid work. I didn't do any paid or trade work at the time. I didn't see any reason for it. I don't know, I just wanted to get paid. I do lots of trade work now. Okay, so you have a Mormon background. I do. Has my modeling caused any conflict with friends or family, or awkward run-ins with people who saw me nude online? When I started modeling, I knew that it was something that my mom wouldn't appreciate, but having a relationship with my family is really important, and part of that is being honest with them about who I am. And I was excited. I was really excited to start modeling, and I was excited about the pictures that were coming back, and I wanted somebody to share that excitement with me, so I showed my mom my Model Mayhem profile. And there were nude pictures, but they weren't explicit in any way. They were really pretty, they were tasteful, and I was like, yeah, Mom, check this out, this is what I'm doing now, and you know, I'm really excited about it. And she was like, oh, so you do porn now? I was like, what the fuck? No, I'm not doing porn. God. And she's like, no, this is porn. You're doing porn. So she cried. Duh. Anyway, so when I came out to my family that I was doing nude modeling, they didn't appreciate it. They didn't really understand it, obviously. But since then, they've grown a lot. You know, my family has gone through some growing pains since then, and they've changed. They've really opened up, and now my mom actually wants to see all my photos. She asks me frequently, hey, text me some of your recent stuff. When I went to Sicily, she was so supportive. She was so excited. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the photo of me with the other 4 models in Sicily, she loved that. She really wants a print. She wants to hang it up on her wall. So that's improvement. So I would really hate to say that I've caused conflict with my family. I want to be supportive of them, and I hope that they're supportive of me, and there's only one person who has kind of kept their distance from me because of my lifestyle choices different than theirs, and that's my stepmom. She's kind of a bitch anyway, so don't tell her I said that. I don't really care. My dad still loves me, my mom still loves me, and nothing's different. And I haven't had any awkward run-ins with people who've seen me online. I think most of my friends from high school who mattered to me, they follow me on Instagram, and they're supportive, and they, you know, make cute comments and like all my stuff. So that's really important to me that people care. So how has modeling affected your relationships with men? Not negatively in any way. I can imagine, well, I have heard of models who really struggle to find somebody that they have a connection with, because either the guy who's interested gets lost with who they are as a model and not who they are as a person. And that's not really, well, I don't know, that kind of happened to me in my last relationship. My last relationship, the first day we hung out, or the next day, he was actually an escort to shoot with me, and he just sat at the table and just kind of watched and didn't make any judgments or anything. But as our relationship progressed, he seemed to become a little bit more and more jealous of I don't know, my shoots, and he didn't want me traveling. He didn't trust that I'd be safe traveling, which really sucked, which really, I don't know, affected me a lot. So now that I'm not in a relationship with him, I'm now with my current boyfriend, and I was with my boyfriend when I decided to go into modeling full time, and he has always been totally and completely supportive. Ladies, if your man doesn't support you 100%, he's so not worth it. I just can't stand those jealousy complexes. you know, you need to find somebody who loves you totally and unconditionally and who is proud of you, and I found that. So, I would say no for the majority. The one relationship that actually matters to me has really kind of helped me push my career forward, and he is a good influence that way. Alright, last question. Is there one job you wish you could do? Like I said before, I'm really glad that this is my full-time job. I'm really glad that I don't have to rely on, you know, working for the man, I guess. However, I have my sights on getting a degree or certificate or whatever that means in nutrition and health coaching. I kind of have like a little business model in mind for what I want to do in the future. But until then, this is it, and I'm building up, you know, my little empire, my little mini empire. And then this coming summer, I'm going to start working towards that and doing everything I need to, as far as schooling and online schooling and reading and everything, so that comes to fruition soon. Anyway, that was the last question. Thank you guys so much for, you know, taking part in my Ask Me Anything. And again, I just want to thank you so much for all your guys' support. It's really fun to interact with you online, and I hope this video has been fun for you like it's been for me. And I don't know if I have said this enough, but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Honestly, if I didn't have Patreon, this damn tooth wouldn't have been able to be removed earlier this week, and I'm so happy it's gone. So happy. And it did hurt my savings a little bit, but not too bad. Not to where I need to go find another job at McDonald's or something, so that's good. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.